Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to do the end of the year book tag. So the thought that the end of the year is very near is making me panic a bit, but we still have a few weeks left of the year. This tag was created by Ariel and I will leave her video linked in the description. And it's kind of about transitioning into the end of the year and figuring out if there are still some last minute books you want to read and stuff like that. So let's jump right into the questions. So question number 1 is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? And yes, there are definitely a few I started this year that I would like to finish, although I don't think I will actually finish all of them. I usually don't like to read books for months, but this year kind of happened and I started some books and I haven't finished them. I didn't touch them for months and I'm still kind of interested to finish them, so they aren't like candidates for DNFing, but at the same time the interest is not the same as it was at the beginning. I mentioned some of these in my non-fiction November TBR because a lot of them are non-fiction, but for the books I need to finish, these are Irresistible by Adam Adler. So this is a book about social media. I'm listening to it on audio, except for I don't really listen to audiobooks these days, so I still have like 5 hours to go, which isn't a lot, but I just don't put the audiobook on, so no progress is being done. But yeah, if I put my mind to it, I'm sure I can do it. One book that I started this year that isn't non-fiction is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. So I started rereading this one because, yeah, I read it previously and it was one of my favorite books of that year. I don't even know what year it was. Last year, the one before, who knows anymore. And I wanted to reread the first one before continuing with the series. And I actually unfollowed the series and then I got the ebooks, or at least the first one, and I started it. And I got a bit in, but then I abandoned it, and now I don't really know if I will finish this before the end of the year because I'm just not drawn to, well, adult fantasy in general, I guess, but specifically to this world. I enjoyed the first book. I mean, I really liked it. I don't like continuing with series when the details aren't that fresh in my mind, so that's why I started reading it, but now I'm just not that invested in reading it, so that's kind of awkward situation. Maybe I will DNF it for now, but yeah, I don't really like when I feel the need to DNF a book when I'm rereading it, because then it feels like, oh, I can't even get through it for the second time, so maybe I didn't love it as much the first time, so it feels like it can partially destroy my experience with the book in general, because now I remember kind of dragging through it and not picking it up for weeks and months, and not the first experience when I really loved it. So we'll see what happens with this one. And then the 2 remaining books that are in my currently reading on Goodreads are also books I mentioned in the non-fiction November TBR, and those are Atomic Habits by James Clear and The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine and Aaron. This year wasn't a great year for non-fiction. I'm reading some during non-fiction November, but not that many, and also non-fiction books are hard to marathon or read quickly in general, but especially during this year I find it especially hard with my focus and interest just not being fully there. But I would really like to start the new year with a clean slate one way or another, so we will have to deal with this pile of books I started this year and haven't finished. Yeah, one way or another. Question number 2 is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And yeah, kind of. I think that this year, this autumn, I read some books that kind of felt like transitional or appropriate for the autumn time. One of them was Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I think most of it takes place during a really hot summer, but it is paranormal, there's time travel, so it kind of felt autumn-like. I also read The Horror Store this year, which also kind of felt autumn-like. It's a horror from an IKEA-like store. And last year I also read a book during autumn that felt appropriate for that season, and that was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and that was a thriller. It was a murder mystery with a Groundhog Day twist, and the atmosphere was really bleak and mysterious, so that also felt really appropriate. Question number 3 is there a new release you're still waiting for? And I don't think there is. Recently I discovered a new feature on Goodreads, which was weird because I thought that I knew about all of them. And I'm gonna show you. So when you go to browse and then you go to new releases, it actually shows you new releases by the authors on your shelves. But I found out that like this is almost completely useless to me because, well, I only have history on Goodreads from 2017 because I deleted everything before that for reasons. But even with that, there are still many authors I'm no longer interested in. So like there's like this series, Amy Kaufman, J. Kristoff, no interest in that. Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson, I still haven't read. Skyward, first book, so. Nnedi Okorafor, I'm mildly interested in trying more of her books, but not super much right now. Neil Shusterman, V. Schwab. Oh, I just finished a book by this author, The Love Square, and it didn't really make me wanna pick up more of her books immediately. This is an option, like Catherine Ormsby wrote, wait for it, Charles Tolstoy, which is one of my favorite books, but it also is really special to me mainly because of the rap and also the theme. It is about Tolstoy, and I really used to love his books in high school, and then the main character is on the A spectrum and she has Czech relatives and stuff like that. So yeah, this book was great, and I haven't read anything else by Catherine Ormsby, so it just feels a bit random, but maybe I could try some of her other books. Rainbow Rowell, no. Margaret Atwood, Actually, I want to make a video about authors I no longer want to read from, so this is tiny spoilers for that. I mean, definitely not her either. So yeah, this is December, so there's the sequel to What If It's Us by Becky L. Bertelli and Adam Silvera, which I'm not sure I want to read. I quite enjoyed the first book, but I'm not desperate to read the sequel. What is this? Is this new volume? I only read the first volume, so I need to catch up with the series. Oh, okay, there's a Chloe Lies book, but it's a Christmas book, and I don't really think I will be buying books before Christmas. I will get some books I will order for Christmas, but I don't think I will be spending my own money for books in December because I don't have the money. So yeah, nothing really that caught my attention. Shut up. So yeah, I'm not aware of any release that I'm currently waiting for. That could have been a short answer, but... Question number 4 is, what are 3 books you still want to read before the end of the year? So since my reading in November is a bit structured because I'm participating in 2 readathons, it's still quite loose because I'm just reading non-fiction and reading Neggali books, but there are still some restrictions. So I don't want to plan my December reading that much, but there are still some occasions that I want to honor and use some books for that. The first of them is Slavikathon, which is a readathon hosted by my friend Sasha from The Wild Sasha, and it is focused on reading books about Slavic mythology or just books from Slavic countries. There are a lot of challenges, so I will leave her announcement video. Definitely check it out, it's a really cool readathon. So I want to read at least 1 book for that. I haven't decided which one. I think I'm interested in reading King of Scars, but I would have to borrow it from the library, and I don't know if I manage to snatch a copy because I don't think you can put a halt on them when they are physically there. I think there used to be an option and it isn't anymore. So when I see that a book is at some branch, I just need to go there and hope that nobody will borrow the books before I get there. So yeah, we'll see if I manage to get that one. Otherwise, yeah, some other book with this theme. And of course, it's Christmas in December, and I like to read Christmas books only in December, mostly. Just enjoy the season and then be done with it. And I have one NetGalley books that is Christmas themed, and that's Stories for the 12 Days of Christmas. I know nothing about it, but it's short stories about Christmas. I probably don't need to know more at this moment, and it's on my NetGalley, and I'm really trying to get my NetGalley TBR to, well, maybe not 0, but to as small number as possible. And then the rest of the December reading is pretty open. Yeah, I don't want to put a strict TBR, but I do have one book that I don't think it's Christmassy, but it kind of feels like it could be appropriate, and that's Blackout by a bunch of different authors. And this is also a collection of short stories, and it takes place in New York, and it's young adult stories about like electricity blackout. And I mean, this is one of the most stunning books I currently own, and yeah, I'm quite intrigued to read it. And short stories might be kind of easier, although we'll see if I feel like reading 2 short story collections in the same month, because that could be a lot. Question number 5 is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? And the answer is like absolutely yes. I believe that any book could become my favorite book of the year till it strikes midnight on the 31st of December. I haven't had that many 5-star reads this year at all, so I definitely wouldn't be opposed to a book really surprising me in December. Question number 6 is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? And the answer is kinda. So last year I didn't make any goals for 2021, but I think I'm ready to set some reading goals for the next year, although life could be chaotic and very different than it was because I'm starting a new job, blah blah blah. So I will probably be making a dedicated video about my reading plans and goals for next year, but I mean, one of them will almost definitely be just reading books on my physical TBR, because I got quite a few this year, especially in the second half of the year, and I don't like having a lot of books on my physical TBR, so I will definitely want to be reading, well, basically all of them. The end of the year and the beginning of a new year is probably my favorite time of the year on BookTube, because all of the exciting videos about wrapping up the old year and preparing for the new year are coming up. But yeah, that is all for the end of the year tag. If you haven't done it and you still want to do it, I tag you. Let me know if you read any of the books I mentioned and what did you think. And tell me what is one book you definitely want to read before the year is over, or just leave me an emoji to let me know you were here. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!